Hello, fellow pickers. My name is Mike Kraft, coming to you from the Redwoods of Northern California.
And my name is Carl Mandrill. I'm coming to you from snowy Castle Rock, Colorado.
Hey, buddy, what's happening?
What's happening is that we haven't had a new show in like forever. And
So,
yeah,
we
I
got
think
some
that
explaining to do.
what's that?
We got some explaining to do.
Sort of. Yeah, I think, okay. So typically your average podcast lasts about 10 episodes, and we hit that episode 10 mark, and suddenly like we vanished. And so I
Where do
think
we
that there
go?
is some explaining to do. So, yeah, is this your fault, you think?
I am thankful that I have such a patient host. I gotta tell you what. Yeah. So we hit that 10 episodes, and then we had a little chat about how we're doing, how we're feeling about the podcast, and then
Right.
I got sick. I got so sick. I was in
Right.
bed for 4 days straight, man. I don't know if you've ever been sick where you just can't get out of bed. It was horrible. And
And you're
then
talking
I
about like
said,
you were actually like you had like a virus. You weren't just sick of the podcast.
yeah, I wasn't sick of our listeners. They're
Okay.
being nice to me. It was nothing like that. No, seriously sick. And then I was on the couch. I finally dragged myself out of the couch for about the next 2 weeks. And then I don't know if you've been following the news in California. Have you been keeping up with the California news?
I have because it relates to. I mean, it really relates to everybody because it's gone across the nation, across the world. But yeah, all those storms that were hitting you up in Northern California.
Yeah,
So
crazy
how
stuff.
does that impact a podcast though?
Well, the first one was we had an earthquake in my hometown here. I think it was a 7.1 or is in the high sixes, but it was shallow. And I don't know if you know anything about earthquakes or the way they hit, but when the shallower they are, the worse they are, the more violent they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I work for the local power company up here, and it knocked all of our power out in my whole
Mm,
county. And when the earth moves like that, it pulls the gas lines apart. And so we had to leak survey 25,000 services. It was just that was a full week of just working in an operation emergency center. And
okay.
then we had the 9 atmospheric rivers or bomb cyclones, whatever they're calling, back to back to back. And it was 13 hours a day. It was 13 days straight. Had to go out of town, work out of a hotel for 13 days. It was
You did
just
not bring your
insane.
podcast gear with you, is what you're saying.
I didn't. I
Okay.
wouldn't have had the mental capacity to podcast afterward, anyways.
This doesn't take that much mental capacity, does it?
Yeah, working with you, it sure does. Or
Okay.
work. I guess it should be the other way around. Working with me, it sure does.
Okay.
No,
Whatever.
so
All right, Mike, man, I'm happy that you're okay. I know I was just kind of joking about the whole, bring your podcast gear along with you, but appreciate all you did for the folks that were, out of power in Northern California and beyond, and all the hard work that you did. But I'm also happy that you're back. I'm happy that we can continue the show. Yeah.
yeah, and I apologize to our listeners. I know we're growing a great audience. A couple of listeners actually reached out and asked us where we were at. So
That's nice of them. Thank you.
I
Thank you
know
so
it really
much.
was.
So
We're
where we're
back.
at is we're back and we've got an awesome guest that is growing fast. We've got Will from Reseller Madness from YouTube. And without further ado, here we go.
Here we go. All right, welcome pickers. So today we have a special guest. We have a professional reseller and goofball YouTuber. So let's settle in and help me welcome some Reseller Madness. Welcome,
Reseller
Will.
Madness. How's it going, Will?
How's it?
Hi guys, thrilled to be on your show. This is awesome.
Thanks for
How you
coming
doing?
on. That's great. We're
Good,
great up
man.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we jump in, though, I wanted to tell you that I've got banned topics for this interview. All right.
Sure.
And it's not your fault. It's more our fault because when we went back and forth and prepping for this interview, there's some topics that came up and I'm like, no. We can't talk about the Sacramento farmers market. And and then this question is not going to come up. At least I'm hoping not. Like, can you believe the weather in California these days? So,
Thank
all right.
you.
We got 2 Californians here. So Mike, this is more of a rule for you. Are you in agreement?
Oh, that takes out 2 of my topics right
Okay.
there, man. It's
Too
like half of the
bad.
interview.
Too
Jeez.
bad.
All right. I'll see how I can do. You're just gonna have to bleep me if I start talking about it. No big
Okay.
deal.
All right.
Quick
All
question.
right.
You say Sacramento Farmers Market because there's a couple. Is that the Nios?
Denials.
Or the
You're already banned. We
We've
banned
already
this.
talked about it.
We literally just said that you're not allowed to do this, and then right away.
Niles
Was that like a real question, or were you trying to test us on that rule?
No, there's actually a couple, believe it or not. Some
Okay.
people love one and hate the other.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I hate both of them for this interview, but happy to talk afterwards about it.
It's great. We'll talk about it afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some of these questions, Will. So, how would you describe your YouTube channel to somebody that's new at picking?
See, I'm a child of the 90s. I grew up with Nickelodeon, a lot of goofball TV shows on there. And I like to think if Nickelodeon made a picking show, that'd probably be my show. That's my thought. Goofball, funny, off the wall, unexpected for sure.
Okay.
Now, you wouldn't be talking about you sitting in a coffee cup going across the bottom of your screen, would you?
That would be part of it.
He's got some great videos out there. I've been checking them out.
That's funny. My goodness. Right. Yeah, my co-host is 6 inches tall. He's a little copy of me. He lives in my coffee cup, and he's a caffeine addict and eats everything in sight.
Nice. That's perfect.
All right. Well, so I look forward to the video where you're just kind of chatting away about a particular topic, and then slime comes down on your head. That'll be a good one.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Great. Perfect. Okay, so you seem very comfortable in front of the camera. I watched quite a few of your videos, and you tend to poke fun at yourself in some certain situations. So, what's the backstory there about that?
Yeah, the comfort in front of the camera thing. I think the secret there is do about 100 takes and throw 99 of them away. But no, it comes with practice too. Honestly, I am not naturally good in front of the camera, and it's just something that I'm working on little by little. Next year, you'll probably see a difference in my stage presence. This year, I'm okay with where I'm at and just kind of moving forward with it. It's a process.
Gotcha.
I think you guys have been doing shows for a lot longer than me. Someday I'll probably be about as comfortable as you guys are.
Wait,
nice.
Okay, so you're saying, I mean, that's like a very nice and humble answer, but what you're saying is like you really don't have experience, whether it's acting or any sort of stage presence or anything, really?
No, I have a film degree. I was behind the camera the whole time.
Okay.
I was never in front of the camera for any meaningful amount of time.
Wow.
Couple credits on IMDb for a little this and that, but no, actually, I always didn't see myself with a lens pointing at me. This is a new development.
Well, okay, well, impressive then, because for me, yeah, I'm still not come from front of the camera, and so I have to do, like you're saying, a lot of the takes as well. But okay, you're kind of like dropping us little nuggets here. What do you got on IMDb?
Let's see. I've got a couple little horror films that I helped out on set for. One of them never even credited me in the credits. They promised me oh yeah, we'll help you. And eventually all I got was IMDb credit. But I did makeup for a zombie movie. I did some grip work, and we did a international film that ended up doing like a student film circuit all around the film festival and such in Japan with Japanese actors and an American film crew. It was an international cooperation to make a movie that could do the film fest circuit.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So this horror movie or this horror TV show wouldn't be The Walking Dead, would it?
Or no, nothing quite so exciting. It was Fading of the Cries, which was the concept was some sort of ninja goes against witches who raises an army of zombies. It's as wild as it sounds. And the other one was Feast 3. Please don't watch it. Don't
watch that one.
Skip that one. You can find me on IMDb though. You can find me on IMDb.
All right, we're gonna check it out.
I've always been behind the scenes, also in the tech, running the camera, setting up equipment, stuff like that too. So it's pretty neat.
Not now, man. Also. Not now. You're right in front of the camera. You're doing it.
I am trying to work on those shorts. I've got a couple scripts written out that I want to play out and get some recorded. So
how the tables have turned, Mike.
I know. The hardest thing is getting away from the ums and the I's and the ands, the filler words. Just pause and take a break and don't say those words. That was the hardest thing for me. Yeah. And you're really good at that too. I don't hear you saying any ums or I's or ands too.
Just wait. I'll get them.
Okay.
Just wait. We just started. Hey, so
Nice.
if you're doing like zombie makeup, are you like, did you ever get nightmares from the movie that you're making?
No, actually, I never had a single film set dream. Not one.
Oh, interesting.
I dream about school. That's
Okay.
not fun, but yeah, no nightmares. The fun thing is that special effects work with all the people that are doing the masks and the makeup and trying to make everything scary and putting blood on stuff. They're all really sweet people in my experience. They're really nice and fun to work with, even though you're making this, scary scene.
Right.
Great people to work with. So
Mhm.
when you're working on that sort of film, fear is not really a part of it. It's more creativity and fun.
Mm. You're friendly, so you really don't want to eat my brains. That's good to know as you're putting makeup on. Okay,
All right.
that's
What kind of a
interesting.
show? What kind of a show are we doing here? I can't remember now. It's a zombie.
A
yeah,
very
let's-
versatile show.
Yeah. Do you have any more
Yes.
zombie questions, Mike?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. So, if you've seen any of the episodes before, you know that we like to hear the awkward and funny stories about reselling and sourcing. Do you have any interesting stories that you could share with us while you're outsourcing?
There's a problem with this. And the most interesting ones happened at this magical place that starts with a D that I can't say.
That's a band. Okay, a band.
Disneyland.
Honestly,
Yeah.
though, we're when I go to a yard sale, I'm probably the oddball thing that happens to people. I'm the walking goofball encounter. When I show up at your yard sale wearing this and asking if you got any video games, that's already the crazy thing going on.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
I love doing something memorable at a yard sale that's going to
Yeah.
get people to interact with me.
Okay.
Meeting the sellers is fantastic, and so
Mhm.
I'll do goofball stuff like that so I can start a conversation. I'll have them talk to me. I had one
Mhm.
lady point at me from way down the block and yell, "That guy's a knucklehead!"
They
And
see
it
you
made my
coming.
day. It made my day. You know what I told her? I said, "How could you tell?"
Oh my gosh.
You've got a fantastic personality, man. I'd love
Yeah.
to go
Oh,
garage selling with you.
thank you, dude.
When she
Anytime.
accused you of that, I imagine you've got like a whole closet full of like various hats. Were you wearing a hat made of like knuckles?
Guilty.
Okay. Okay, so like you're walking up with a fun hat on, and for those that couldn't see, like what is that? It was like a little squid
That was
hat.
a squid. This is a squid hat. It's
He had like a
big,
neon
old,
blue squid
crazy.
hat with googly eyes on it that he
Mhm.
put on his head for the audio listeners. And anyway, so you're walking up, so you're rolling up to this person, and is
Mhm.
like, would they like, have you ever bought anything from somebody that maybe wasn't out at the sale, but because you broke the ice with being goofy, like they felt comfortable either inviting you to their house or showing you something that maybe they're like, maybe you might want something like this.
That's very insightful. Yes, absolutely. Some kind of meaningful interaction with the sellers often does
Mhm.
segue into I'll ask them, what else you got? You got any video games, maybe sitting in a closet that you didn't bring out?
Mhm.
Old toys, you got any of that stuff? Starbucks mugs, Starbucks tumblers, you got any of those?
Mm,
And they'll think
Mhm.
for a second, go, no, no, no. And I'll just pause and I'll wait. And I'll say, well, sometimes people have them in a closet and they forgot about them. And they'll go, I actually do. I do. Yeah, come check
right,
this out.
right. That's so
That's
Yeah.
great.
funny.
You
I've
can turn
watched
a no
Carl
into a yes, which is
I've
really
watched
nice.
Carl do that before at a yard sale too. He's like, "Hey, you guys got anything in the house? Anything else you want to sell?" And they bring them out. I'm like, "That's an
Mhm.
awesome tactic. I never even thought of that."
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely, and a lot of times they haven't thought ahead about what they wanna price it at too, so you can
Mhm.
get some amazing deals if you do ask. The
Right.
stuff
Yeah.
that's out on the tables, they'll go, "Oh, yeah, I already know. I want $1 for this. I want 10 for that. I want 100 for that."
Right.
But
Right.
if they kinda bring something unexpectedly, they haven't premeditated a price on that, and there's a lot more, ability to negotiate and haggle.
Hmm.
Mm,
Right.
cool.
Interesting. All right. So you just mentioned that you are like one of the things you're looking for are video games, and I know some of your YouTube shorts and some of your things on your YouTube channel feature video game expertise. So I've got a challenge for you.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, here we go.
yeah. So these are I've sold some video game stuff myself in the last few months, and so I want to see if you can rank the following sales that I made from the sale that was the most money to the least money with these video game sort of system setups. All right.
Oh,
I'm
now we're
testing your
talking.
knowledge.
Oh,
Okay.
man. We'll find out if I actually know what I think I know. Real
Re-
quick, do you mind? Can I sweeten this a little bit? Any viewers that are listening to this and who are able to do as good or better than me, I want to make an offer. I want to give some of my promo stickers out to you. Just send me a message on Instagram and say, I beat you. And I'll send you stickers.
Yeah, dude, that's wow. I like that. And if you're just listening, like he's got, those are some pretty cool stickers right there. What is it says Reseller Madness, and what you got in the sticker there? It looks like
Not
it
really
looks like
focusing. There
it's
we
yeah.
go.
I like that font right there. It's kind of got some yellow and orange, and it's a fun font. So
Thank you.
all right, deal. That's a deal. And all right, so here's the question. So, or here are the options here. All right, so I sold a broken original Nintendo NES with 24 games. All right, none of the
Yeah,
games were like Mario games or like Zelda games. They were all kind of like your typical. If you were to sell them individually, probably like $5 games.
sure.
But packaged together, they're not worth that much, obviously. But that was one. The Nintendo like had that 72 pin replacement for those of you that are Nintendo nerds like myself. But it still wasn't reading right. So it could have been like a user error on my part there. That's one. Next one is TurboGrafx 16. If you remember that one, that was console only as is console only. Not sure if it's working or not. And then the third one is a working Nintendo 64 with one game and two controllers. The game was Mario 64. There was a OEM authentic controller and one that was off-brand, but all was working. So what you got?
All right. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to Google any of it. Here's what I'm thinking. I think your N64 probably did the best.
Okay.
I think your TurboGrafx was close behind, and the NES came up in last, but probably not by too far. I think most of this is probably sitting in the $100 to $200 range.
The last thing you said is pretty close, except for the TurboGrafx 16. That was actually the last place. That was in the $75 range.
Ah, okay.
Because, so you got the first one right though. Is the Nintendo 64. That was correct, and then it was the broken Nintendo and so on. So
sweet.
Close.
You did good.
Close.
You did good on those.
Man.
Good sales.
I need to step up my game on the video games. You guys are blowing me out of the water. I have no idea what all that meant. I couldn't even tell you.
That's funny. But yeah,
so
your last
there's
comment,
opportunity.
The fact that you know the general pricing, like obviously you know what you're talking about. So good job. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you still beat me. You still stumped me a little bit. If any of the viewers stump me too, remember, send me that message. You'll get your stickers.
Nice. You went 3 for 3, basically. Yeah, you won right there. So, all right. So since you are, so you're making a lot of videos, you've got, you're doing a lot of, multiple YouTube shorts a week. I've got a question for you. Which of the following videos are you most likely to make? And I've got 3 options, and you can pick more than one. If you're digging these videos, you can pick more than one. So, so option number 1 is how to haggle with irrational people. All right.
Ooh.
Option 2 is called the Sacramento Farmers Market, a documentary. Option 3, stop buying video games at garage sales. I want them all.
These are great. I love them.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, Carl. So you came up with all 3 of those.
Oh yeah, I'm the ideas guy. I'm not always the follow through guy.
Holy moly, those are good. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so I did make a video on negotiation already, and some of it covered irrational or helped to decode some of the things that sounded irrational. I like that, and that's very much like
okay. Wait. Do you have a solution in that video? Like how? Like okay, so there's obviously multiple types of irrational people. One example is I'm selling something for more than it costs new at the store, and I'm not budging. Yeah. So, what do you give us some advice here?
There's some that are just no-win situations. If you are truly, in fact, not budging, then usually I can't argue you out of it. Value is subjective, and different value to different people can have very different price price points. However, most people are willing to budge. And a lot of times it's not an argument that gets them there. It's actually, remember how I talked about interactions with people to begin with? A lot of times it's groundwork that will get you there. You get someone to tell you what they value. And so they may value getting their space back. They may value their time. They may value their freedom. They may value ease of sales. They just want the stuff gone with minimal hassle. And talking to them gets you to the point where you understand the value they want, so you can offer it to them. They'll say, man, I'm so tired of this sale. I just want it gone. Okay, how much for this? $10. I say, well, how about this? You want all your stuff gone? You're tired of it. You want to pack up? How much you think you're going to make today? I don't know, maybe another $100. How about I give you 75 and I'll take all of it?
Right.
Right. Now you just offered them the value they wanted, and you got a fantastic deal. Who knows how much value there was in that $75 that you just offered?
Right.
But in the situation where you're trying to buy just one item and they are really stuck to a value on that, sometimes it's better to just say, I'm out of here. Thanks anyway. Yeah, it's worth more to you than it is to me. Bye.
Yeah. So you're not pulling out your phone showing them stuff then. Like, here's what it's worth. Okay.
If you're arguing price on something, what it's supposed to be worth, you've already lost, in my mind. That's never, ever worked out for me. And I do this a lot. Instead, another tactic that I do with those irrational people that won't budge on price, in my mind, they'll eventually realize they were wrong. And I want me to be at the top of their mind when they realize that. And I say, here's my card. Give me a call at the end of the day when the stuff doesn't sell, and I'll make you a good deal, but I can't pay what you're asking.
Right. Right. That's a good way to do it versus saying like, you're never going to sell it. And then like running away. Like that's probably the worst way to do that. Right.
I've seen that. I've seen people do it. They didn't end up with what they were hoping to get, which is they wanted to buy the item. It was an action that led away from their goal instead of towards it. I like actions that lead toward the goal. So I'll give them the business card with my phone number. Here, call me.
Right.
Gotcha.
Another one is, you say irrational people that aren't sure they want to sell something.
Right.
That's one thing that I run away from because I've had them waste too much of my time, and my time and attention is way too valuable for that. So if they say, yeah, I really want this gone, or yeah, I'm selling this, great. But if they say, I don't know if I really want to let it go, I'm kind of attached to, okay, thanks. Bye. I'm out. Right. I'm not down for that. There's a guy that he had probably $600 worth of PlayStation 2 stuff. And he took up 2 hours of my time waffling over whether he was going to sell it or not. And then didn't. And then he didn't. Wow. I scanned everything in there. I was making him competitive offers. I even kept raising my offers to try and nudge him over. In the end, he just decided, I don't really want to sell it after all. I'm done. Right. I even offered his asking price originally. You said you wanted 300 for it. I'll give you 300. Nah, never mind. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's one for me. That's a do not engage. Everything else is pretty much negotiable, which is good.
Okay.
What about a corn leaf pattern Pyrex set at a Goodwill store? How do you get away from something like that?
Corn leaf. I'm not a Pyrex expert, really. I look to Pyrex Princess for a lot of that. She posts a lot of rare stuff, which is really great. But I wouldn't know the most valuable Pyrex ones if I just looked at it. I'd probably look it up on the spot. How about you? Are you into Pyrex?
I am into Pyrex quite a bit. Well, I'm getting more into it. It's kind of niching down into some stuff just because I'm so bad with plates and silverware and all that kind of stuff. But the reason why I brought that up is because one of your videos, you were in a thrift store and you picked up a piece of Pyrex and it was listed for like $90.
$90
oh my
for that
goodness.
one.
90
Whoosh, right over my head. Yeah,
no, that's all right. That's all right.
How do you deal with something like that in the thrift store? You kind of explained at yard sales, but when you're at a thrift store, do you go up to them and you're like, you guys are paying market price, or you guys are asking market prices for something at a thrift store? What are you doing?
They were way over market value. It was maybe 75 on eBay, shipped to my door without me having to go out to a store and look at it.
Right.
That's wild.
But yeah, you can. Thrift stores usually around here anyways have a big old sign that says all prices final, no haggling. You can't talk to us about price. We won't even, they're very adamant about that in this area. Other places I've heard are better about it, but here they don't want to do that. I still haggle with them, though. There's a little bit of a secret to it. Remember how I talked about value, offering them what they actually want. There was a
Right.
thrift store nearby that they had a big old audio section, and they had audiobooks on CD.
Mm.
And I knew I could
Oh.
do something with a bunch of them, but onesie twosies kind of was difficult. They wanted like $2 a piece or $3 a piece on these things. And I said, you know what? I could buy them all and I could just spend like 5 minutes sourcing this, and I would have a couple $100 worth of inventory. 5 minutes
Wow.
for that much that's pretty great. So I walked up to the front and I said, hey, I'd really like to make you a deal on a bunch of your audiobooks and just take, the whole bookshelf worth of audiobooks for you.
Mhm.
Is there a manager who could talk to me about it? And they said, well,
Okay.
the manager's busy. And I said, well, that's fine. I'm here. I'll wait for you. No problem.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, shoot. All right. Okay. I needed a better excuse. And the guy was walking past here and he goes, I'm the manager. What can I do for you? I said, hi, how's it going? My name's Will. And I want to
Did you have the hat
job.
on when you're doing that? Was the hat on?
No, but I should have. That would be even better. That'd be amazing. I might try wearing the hat to stores and see what happens now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
But no, just my plain old regular outfit. And I said to the manager, I want to make your job really easy. You got that whole bunch of audiobooks back there. I said, there's some great ones. There's some not so great ones. I want to take them all. I don't want to sort through. I don't want to look at all the CDs and make sure that none of them are scratched and come back to you and complain about it. I want to take them as is. I want to go without picking through and getting the good ones. I want to take the whole shelf worth of books. Will you make me a deal on this? And he goes, huh. And I can see he's thinking about that because that's what the stores want. They want to move product quickly and they want no hassle. They just, they want this stuff in and out and they get their money.
Right.
And he says, how much do you want? And I said, $1 a piece and I'll take every single one of them. I said, and I counted it for you. There's, I don't remember, 50 here at the time.
Right.
And he goes he looks at the lady that's at the register and says, do it.
Nice.
Right underneath that sign that said no haggling.
Right.
That's perfect.
So
That's hilarious.
Offer value. What I took out of that, offer value before you ask for value. And that is how I get through difficult objections.
That's some great advice. Yeah.
That is good advice. Okay, you've thrown us a couple pieces of information here. So one of them is kind of pay attention to the audiobooks. Like,
yeah,
I'm guessing you bought some that weren't worth anything, just and kind of focus on the ones that were. Like, how do you know, or where did you get that knowledge or information about what's valuable, what's not?
If you scan it in the Amazon app, you'll get a rough idea of what things are selling for. All the audiobooks have barcodes on the bottom, which makes it easy. You don't have to type it in. You don't have to talk to your phone and say Dean Koontz and then the name of the book and audiobook CD. No, you just scan it. Bloop, done.
Okay, gotcha.
So Amazon, you can sell a lot of audiobooks. eBay, similar kind of thing, but you can lot up unprofitable ones and make a profitable lot. So I can turn $5 worth of audiobooks into $50 worth of audiobooks really easily by lotting them up. But if I sold them onesie twosies, it probably wouldn't be worth the time.
Right.
It takes forever too.
I see what you're doing. Okay. So what, and then you mentioned the Starbucks mugs. I'm trying to think if I've come across them. I'm sure I haven't, just haven't paid attention. Like ballpark, how many, like what's the range of prices you can get for Starbucks mugs and tumblers?
Minimum you're going to see is about $15 on any tumbler, and that's shipped. So most of that will go to shipping because it's usually a pound or a little over a pound.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So watch out for the cheap ones, but the real expensive ones, you can go $150, $200, if you find the right one. The mugs that have the, what's it called? It's like around the world or
destination mugs.
That's the one. I've sold 1 or 2 of those, and I got, I think, $60 for mine. It was one of the less rare destination ones. There's some really good ones if you keep your eyes out.
Okay. I will now. I will for sure. So thank you.
I was collecting those for a while, and I had a bunch of overseas ones, and then I threw them away, and now I realized that there were so much money. I know. I don't throw anything away anymore. It all goes into a box until I research it.
That's the wise thing to do right there.
It is.
Oh really man, that reminds me. That reminds me a lot of my story of Pokemon cards way back in the day.
Oh yeah,
you guys know Pokemon cards already.
Yeah, for sure.
I had the original base set, not first edition, the base set, the 250 cards or something like that. It was complete, all the hollows, even a few extra hollows, and I bought them, and the prices went up, and then all of a sudden it crashed. It tanked. and I sold them off the whole set for like $35 at a local flea market that was a different one that's not in Sacramento.
Flea markets are okay. We're okay with those.
This was Philadelphia. Around Philadelphia, there was a flea market,
All right.
and I sold it off for $35. And if I had known and hold on to that, it would have been like $1,500 this last year.
Oh my gosh.
$1,500.
Yeah.
But like you, I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Way too early, way too cheap.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's like Pokemon Bitcoin right there.
Gosh, man. Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know that you've already like given us some tips and hints and clues, but we're hoping that you got a little more, because we always like to ask our guests, can you give us like 3 of your best super secret tips for flipping items, sourcing, just anything in this genre, basically?
Yes. Yeah. My number 1 tip that I give to everybody, and it's worth saying 3 times. I'll still give you 2 more, but it's worth saying 3 times.
Okay.
Smile, smile, smile. When you go to the sales, smile. When you go to the first shop, smile. When you go to the estate sales, smile. And the reason that I'm so big on this is because people forget to do it. They're looking at the things on the table and they're very intent and they're thinking about all this stuff, and they hold it up and they go, "How about $1?" That's not negotiation. Negotiation is a whole lot more, in my mind, like this. You're looking at the table, you say, "How's it going? You guys selling a lot?" As you're, viewing the stuff, getting an idea, what do you want to buy? You say, "You guys had a lot of traffic. How's things going?" And usually they'll start conversing with you more. And then as the conversation opens up, you say, "I like this. This is cool. How about $1?" And they go, yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Smile in order to get the best deals. Make friends.
And do you try to throw the prices at them first, or do you typically prefer to wait to see what they got to say?
That's a personality thing. If your personality leads you to throw the first punch, if you will, to throw the initial price out, then definitely do that. Give it a try. Me, it's surprising when I'm making friends with these people, they just start with a low offer, which is great. So I don't tend to give a price initially. "What are you asking on this?" is much more common for me.
Okay.
And they'll say $5. And I'll say, "I was thinking 2. How about that?" And they'll go, "Sure, that's great."
Okay, I like your voice intonation there. "I was thinking 2. Like, I'm very positive. I'm smiling.
Yeah.
Why would you say no to me?
Of course. Of course. I want them to have a good time, and I'm having a good time too. And if the price doesn't come down the way I need it to, I'll ask about something else, because sometimes that happens. "No, I can't let this go for $2. No." And I'll say, "That's fine. Let me look for something else. Maybe there's something else in my price range." And they'll go, yeah. "How about this for $2?" Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
How about if we bundle them for $3?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Absolutely. Bundles are magical. That is
right.
Let's make that number 2. Bundles are amazing. Negotiating for a single item is difficult, but I love putting them together, and I'll set the expectation early on. I'll say, "You know what? I see a lot of stuff. I want to make a pile over here, and let's make a deal at the end." So I get them to agree to make a deal with me at the end, but I ask the price along the way. "How much for this? $1. How much for this? $2. How much for this? $3. Okay, great. We're going to put it over here." And you can negotiate there on the price and say, $2. Okay, well, I want all 4 of these for $3, or all 4 of these for $5, whatever it is. You're making your pile as you go and you're negotiating. And then at the end, when you have this big old pile, then you can say, "Okay, well, you're asking 40. Can we do 35? Is that okay?" And you're getting kind of a second discount because they realize you're going to take a bunch of stuff. You can almost double dip. You don't want to be shady about it or anything, but you can negotiate that way. And sometimes they'll just say, "No, I've already given you enough discounts." That's fine. No problem. Let's get this for the price I've already negotiated for.
Right. Okay.
So bundles are magical.
Yeah.
And they actually work really well in selling too. I use them not just to buy, but also to sell. So if there's those unprofitable audiobooks from all the same author, put them together and sell them at a discount, right? I'm going to pay shipping 1 time instead of paying shipping 5 times on these audiobooks. Right. So you can bundle them all together. You can save them some money when they buy it. And I'll still usually end up with more profit in my pocket because I sold them together.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, you're bringing back some memories for me. We let's see, I think it was last summer. I found a camera that was like, I think it was like at the time I was like, I think this is a high-end camera, like a high-end video camera, but it like was, kind of like broken, where like the handle's coming off, and there was a sticker on it that said make an offer. And I was like, I don't know for sure, but it's like a Canon, so I'm pretty sure it's valuable, even broken. And so I was like, $5. And the guy's like, no, I couldn't let it go for $5. And I was like, oh, that was an offensive offer right there. And I felt really bad. And then he's like, how about 10? I was like, oh, okay, sure. So, but
That's
yeah,
great.
so it's kind of like, I'm not always willing to throw the first number out there, but I think because I did in that case, he, like, his expectation was he wasn't going to get a lot of money for it. So at $10, it ended up being a steal. So anyway, yeah, that kind of sparks some memories there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And see, everybody's got a different approach to it, which is really wonderful. My way might not necessarily work for everybody. There's this guy, when I go to the yard sales in the area, you always see the same regulars. You see this guy that wants to buy all the records. You see that guy that wants to buy the watches. You see this guy that wants to buy all the weightlifting equipment. And I love this guy. I don't remember his name, but he's like probably 6'3" in the way I'm remembering him anyway. 300 pounds of pure muscle. I mean, this guy is huge. He's the opposite of me. I'm a little average and I'm scrawny. He's big and he's burly and he's got a beard going on. And he just marches right on up to the people at the yard sale and goes, got any weights? Barbells? And they go, yeah, actually, I do. And so they bring him out for him and he goes, how about $5?
Oh my gosh.
Sure. That's his way of negotiating. And if I tried it, I'd be laughed out of there.
Yeah.
But this guy's successful because I see him driving around and his car looks like he's riding a little low on the ground. He got his weight. I love it. I hope I can find that guy again. I'd love to put him on camera.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And I mean, there's definitely ways around it. I don't think you'd be laughed out if you buy one of those like shirts that makes you look like you have bigger muscles and then put like a tight shirt over that.
The Superman shirt.
And then just like use your acting voice and just kind of roll up that way. Just as, a thought, a strategy in case you want to try something.
Walk with confidence.
Yeah.
Walk with confidence.
I love it. And you know what? I could almost see that happening on a Nickelodeon show.
You
might be right on there, man.
Right. And if I'm happen to be at the same sale, then I got a bucket of slime, I'll just kind of pour it right on you as you're doing that. So
we need to make a video of that coming up. Bucket of slime.
Dude, that is awesome.
All right. You got one more of your super secret tips.
One more super secret tip.
Did we cover all three? I think you had two, right?
That's two. I only gave you two. You're holding me to it. I like that. Another super secret tip. I would say sell what you know first and learn everything you see along the way. If you're into trading cards, sell cards first. And then when you come across something else, learn that niche. Because every time that I come across something that people are selling, they've bought it. Somebody bought it originally. There's a market for that thing. So I figure if it's worth somebody buying, it's worth me learning to sell. I've found so many different collections. I bought up, goodness, I know absolutely nothing about vintage craft paints when I started. Not a single thing about it. I didn't know that there was such a thing as toll. I didn't know people painted on fabric. I didn't know any of this stuff. But I ended up at an estate sale where there was somebody who distributed this stuff. And they passed away and the family just wanted it all gone as quick as possible. So I walk into this garage full of vintage craft painting stuff. And I said, you know what, let's just make a deal for as much as I can possibly fit in my car. Let's do it. And along the way, I learned, okay, this paint is going for this much. That's out of print. These aren't being made anymore since the 1970s. This brush over here is particularly valuable, and these pictures are desired all across the entire world because everybody wants to paint them. So I learned that niche, even though that was not what I did. I did video games, but I stumbled across it, made some deals, and have learned to sell it since.
That's
what
awesome.
you know
That's
first.
Amazing. Yeah.
Learn everything along the way, and it's been a very profitable deal. I came home and I told my wife, "Hun, trust me, right?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, I just bought $3,200 worth of vintage craft stuff.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. 3,200. Yeah.
Geez.
Yeah.
And it's doubled or tripled for us.
Ah, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's
So
amazing.
was her
Yeah.
reaction as good as ours that we just had, or was it a
She's
little bit different?
she's very even keel. So she does trust me. She knows if I spend the money, it's because I know it's a calculated risk. We'll make the money back and then some.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
think I mean, you got a YouTube channel, man. So of course she's gonna trust you, right? You know,
You're a
if
YouTuber, come
anybody
on.
knows what they're doing in this case, like I'm sure you've made some purchases that weren't perfect, or you took losses or couldn't sell them. But
Mhm.
if you're gonna spend that much money, chances are you got a pretty good chance that you're gonna turn a profit at the least. I would guess. I would feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. I'm not afraid of losing money because I know I can make that back really easily. I'm
Mhm.
afraid of losing time. And
Right.
I lost a lot of time on there was one deal that I made where I bought a bunch of vintage train stuff. This is
Mm,
where learning a new niche goes wrong. I jumped
Mhm.
in with both feet and I bought all this vintage train stuff really cheap, $50 for a carload. 50
mhm.
bucks. And it was
Mhm.
Lionel, it was American Flyer, it was all these
Yeah,
brand names I was excited
yeah.
about from a train collector. And I figured I'll
Oh,
figure it out once I get it home.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And half the stuff was not marked. It was all mixed together, different sizes. They have different size trains. They got little guys,
Yeah,
big guys, medium, and they're all
yeah,
different
yeah,
scales. It was all mixed together and jumbled. I spent a year, gosh, a year working on this vintage train stuff, trying to sort it out. And I think I made a couple $100.
right.
Ah,
I
okay.
lost so much time and I learned from that mistake. I will not
Yeah.
repeat that one again. Um,
Right. Right.
it's
Buying
much
from a
better.
collector too. Buying from a collector too, you're probably buying his cast-offs that he doesn't want, right? That's not selling for him.
It was an
That's
estate
dangerous.
sale. He was a collector, but the family took the good stuff and moved it over there
Oh,
and
oh,
left this
Right.
yeah,
stuff for me to get. Anyways, point being, money is not what I'm afraid of losing. It's time. I want to make
Okay.
sure that I
okay.
earn a good return on my time. Trains didn't work out. Vintage crafts paints did.
That's good. Okay.
That's perfect. Nice.
All right. Those are great tips. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a listener will hear that and maybe be encouraged to do a little bit more in their picking.
I'm encouraged.
Oh,
So you already
I
won.
know, me too. I've learned from you just in this interview. It's been
Right.
great.
Right.
All right. Well, so how can our listeners find you? Where are you at? YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the other socials, and anything you got coming up that we should know about?
Yeah, YouTube especially. I'm Reseller Madness on YouTube. I post as often as I can, but we got a lot of videos in progress right now that I'm looking forward to putting out. One is a review on the disc resurfacer, the Easy Pro by JFJ. And it's
Okay.
something that I use a lot to fix the discs that I buy at yard sales that are a little less than perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm working on that one. That'll be out in a little while. And I put out shorts from time to time too for kicks. You can
Okay.
find me on Instagram, but really YouTube's kind of the best place.
All right.
Perfect.
Reseller Madness.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, Will, we really appreciate you joining the show
Yes.
and giving us all the tips and stories and zombie makeup and Sacramento farmers market, all that stuff.
The what farmers market? I'm not
I
familiar.
know.
I'm
You're the
not
one that
familiar.
banned us from talking about it, and you've said it the most. I mean, what's
Making
going on
fun
here?
of it. I'm poking fun. It's ridiculous. You want to talk about that on this
Does
show?
Sacramento has farmers markets?
Yeah. Is there two of them
Oh,
in town too?
I think there's two.
okay.
Yeah. Look them up. Google them,
I don't,
folks.
All right.
I don't know. It must be small. I've never heard of these things.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Guys, thank
All
you
right,
so much.
well-
This has been a huge joy. I love getting to meet you guys and chit chat.
Cool. Yeah. Me too. We enjoyed
right,
having
thank
you on
you.
the show. I look forward to having a friendship with you. I saved your number in my phone. I'll be texting you soon.
A lot. He'll
Wonderful.
text you a lot.
Yes. Let's keep in touch. This is great.
Man, I knew that guy was going to be a character, but geez, I really enjoyed that interview. He's a great guy. And I have to apologize a little bit. I didn't realize that you didn't know that Denials was a farmer's market and swap meet, not just a farmer's market. So
Yeah, we talked about that afterwards, where I was joking about the farmers market thing, and I was joking about the weather thing because I thought like the storms in California were going to come up. But yes, to me, like a farmer's market is a farmer's market, but apparently that is not the case in Sacramento. Yeah.
well, like I said, it's probably starting off as a farmer. It started off as a farmer's market, but it moved into much, much more. It's just It's a large garage sale. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a
Okay.
big old swap meet and like a block party garage sale. They got food, they got music, they got all kinds of stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to check
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah.
Thinking, yeah, I'll probably flying to Sacramento. I'm thinking at least once this year, but we'll see. We'll
All
see.
right.
So
You guys don't have anything like that up at where you're at? Big flea markets?
we just don't call it a farmer's market, right? We've got a big flea market, and there's one kind of northeast of Denver, but it
Mhm.
feels like there's like half the vendors there are legit, and the other half I'm just like buying stolen goods essentially.
Oh, that's sketchy. I hate that
Yeah.
feeling.
So I'm
Either
just
that
like, yeah.
It's either that or you're buying Chinese knockoff stuff, like it's all little trinkets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for some pretty specific things, and I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm new to that arena, so
Yeah.
I could probably
Well,
find some better things, but I don't know.
let me ask, do they sell any kind of produce at this place that you're at?
They do, but it's again like kind of like what you were saying after we had this conversation. Like it's a small percentage of the whole thing,
Right.
right? And so,
Yeah.
and it's never been described as a farmer's market, and yeah, it's fine. I get it now.
Yeah.
I was a little naive, so thank you for clarifying for me.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty cool that Will even said that he was actually able to flip one of his things. He bought one from one vendor and flipped it at another booth. That was kind of
right,
cool.
right. Well, yeah, if it's
Yeah.
big enough, man. Yeah, you don't know what your neighbors are selling, I suppose. But
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
was cool. It was cool to find out that he used to work on some movies, even though he wasn't super proud of at least one of them. And he had some really good tips in there for sure. What do you think about wearing the crazy hat to a garage sale?
When he was talking about that, that made me think about the time that when we went to the outdoor retailer show and you and I had the same shirts on, right? We
Mhm.
went garage selling.
Right.
And how many people came up to us and started talking to us just because we looked different and we stood out from other people that were coming up to the yard sale.
So I remember that being true garage selling, not so much for the outdoor retailer show. Am I misremembering?
No, no, no. That's what I meant was out at the garage sales, the people
Okay.
that were walking up to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I could see that totally working out, and it defuses people, with a goofy hat on like that.
Mhm.
Immediately they're defused. They're not. Maybe some people when you walk up to them, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's he's gonna try to barter with me. He's gonna try to get me down on something." And then when you see something with a hat on like that, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's the last thing I'm thinking about." It's like, why
Yeah.
are you wearing a goofy hat? I'm not even worried about what you're trying to get from me.
Right, right, right.
So,
That
do
being
you want to
said,
start? Do you want to
I'm
start
not
wearing
wearing the
goofy
goofy
hats?
hat. I'm not wearing
Come on.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's his thing, man. I'm not gonna take his thing. We all got our own things. I did.
There you
I
go.
was even trying to like mentally practice to say things the way that he did, where he's like, he's a super
Ah,
smiley guy, and he's
I
like,
know.
"Would you take $2?" Like after they had offered, they said it was
Yeah.
5. Like, how about 2? And I'm like,
The
that's not my
inflection.
voice or
Mhm.
my demeanor, and so I think that would totally work for him. And I don't know. We've talked about like the villains out there they come across poorly, so they could probably take some notes here, but I don't think we qualify. I think we kind of just have our own style. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you recognize that he was talking about a couple villains in that story too? Well, I don't know if they were villains, but he had characters, I guess, in his garage selling
Like
stories,
the
like
person that cost him time, right? Is that what
the
you're saying?
weightlifter, the big weightlifter
That's
guy.
not a villain. That guy's just as a character.
He's a character, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
And yeah,
funny.
the guy
Everybody
that cost
seemed.
him time, like where he's haggling over the price for whatever that
Oh,
PlayStation
yeah,
system, and it cost him 2 hours. I don't think I would wait that line. I would just say, why don't you think about it? I'm going to come back,
yeah.
and then I would
Why
just swing
why would
back.
even why would you even put out products like that if you weren't gonna sell them? And Will said he even offered him his original asking price, and he still didn't want to go for it.
Yeah.
Like, why put your stuff out if you're not gonna sell it? That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of stuff. So that doesn't sound like it was a mistake. Sometimes I've seen people put things out by mistake, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that
Mhm,
was out with such and
mhm.
such," and then it's kind of I don't know. It can be kind of
Yeah,
a mess. But there's been times, and for sure, yeah, you want to buy something and it's just not for sale for whatever reason. So I don't know.
yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah, 2 hours is a
No,
long time. So
that is too
um,
long. I really enjoyed talking to the guy, and we're really getting to meet a lot of people and know the different personalities out there in garage selling.
mhm.
Man,
The characters.
it's been great.
Yeah, for sure. So,
So
well, you told me a little story that you had something that you've been selling or that you sold recently that you thought I might find interesting. Is that true?
Yeah, I did. So even though I was sick and I was working and all that stuff, I was still selling, moving a bunch of products, like
Okay.
moved a bunch of Christmas stuff. This one thing in particular that I sold, laughing about the Christmas stuff, it's still
Because
moving.
we're in late January now.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost February. We should be selling Valentine's stuff. Why is Christmas
Right,
stuff moving?
exactly.
No, everybody's saying that Christmas stuff moves all year long, so I'm looking
Okay,
forward
all
to it.
right, sorry.
It makes that place where I picked up all the little miniature trees. They probably had another 100 of them there at that estate sale. I wish I would have bought all of them because I bought them all for $1,
Right.
and I've been selling them for 10 and $12 a piece. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, and
Well,
I bought like 20 of them.
yeah, that's the live and learn situation. I think one of our scenarios was something along those lines where I was like picking through stuff and really like I should have been like, what's the price for everything? And then you get, probably get it for under $1 a piece and do better on that. So yeah.
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 Makes me wonder what they do with that stuff after the estate sale. Did all that stuff go to the junk? Did it all get thrifted?
Donation.
The
Yeah.
donation.
Right. So
Yeah.
what was it? What would you sell? What'd you sell?
Getting on to the story, getting on the last part. So is the personal locator beacons for when you're backpacking, and they're called mine was called a Spot, but they have Garmin's, they have all kinds of Zolios, all that stuff.
Right.
Well, I had the Spot for a really long time, and it was just the simple model. It was a press SOS button, it was a tracker, but you couldn't text or two-way communicate at all with it. And then all the new technologies coming out, and the other ones are getting so much cheaper. And I was like, I really want the text message one. So I bought the Garmin Message, iMessage, I think it's called. And so I was like, well, what do I do with the Spot? I paid $199 for it 8 years ago, probably, and I've used it all these years, right? So I'm like, what do I do with this thing? And before, I would have just thrown that thing away. I wouldn't have
What?
even
Are you
thought.
serious?
Yeah, exactly. I
Oh
know.
my
I know.
gosh.
I can't believe how much money I've thrown away over the years, just not
Yeah.
knowing it. And so I'm like, shoot, if I can sell an empty iWatch box, I should be able to sell this Spot, right? It should be no problem. And I put it up and I sold it within 15 minutes. It was gone. I sold it for like $30 plus shipping.
Yeah. That's
I
great.
think it was $30. It was whatever the comparables were around. It was real close.
A+,
But
man.
it's just amazing how much stuff we can actually sell that we have all around us that we don't even know that we could sell. It's
Yeah,
amazing
and
how we're just
timing
giving
is
away.
key on that stuff, right? So once technology improves, there's a little bit of lag time before everybody has access to it. So for example, Apple has a new, or I don't know how new their phone is, but their iPhone 14 Pro is, right? And for me, I like to do a lot of video stuff, and that actually replaces a lot of the video camera stuff that I have. But I don't own that phone yet, and I'm still like, I've got over a year and a half left to pay off my existing phone. So I think once I've made my last video and I'm kind of on the runway to, basically getting that phone, I'm going to sell the camera stuff as soon as possible, because that's start to lose value once phones, replace it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You're on the iPhone 4 still, right?
The
So
4 is a great one, man. That's
pretty
that's
good
one of my favorite
upgrade.
ones.
You still have a year and a half to paid it off.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Jeez, man.
Paying like $1 a month, right? It just takes a long time.
All right, that's a good point to bring up our sponsors, right? We have a sponsor spot available. Reach out to us.
Apple? How are you saying?
Yeah.
Apple
sponsor
I don't know if we're on the radar yet, but that's nice to think about.
Close.
For sure.
All right, my friend, that's all that I had. It's kind of exciting. I'm glad things are still selling. Everybody's kind of saying that everything's slowing down right now on eBay. How are you doing on eBay? Are you selling still?
About through my inventory. I have something, I don't want to say what it is, but I have something on eBay that has been on there for I think it's at least 3 weeks. Okay. And which is long
forever for you. Yeah.
It's forever for me. It has 27 watchers.
Oh, wow.
I've never had that many before. Usually when I hit 4 or 5, they sell. Sometimes before that, if it gets above 10, they typically sell pretty fast after it hits that 10 mark. But 27 and it's just sitting. And so I'm begrudgingly lowering the price like dollar by dollar, trying to move this thing because it's a big box. I've already packaged it up. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So
That is, I get 1 or 2 watchers and I get all excited. It's gonna sell. It's gonna sell.
I
And then
know. I know.
it's still sitting there though. My stuff's
Yeah.
still sitting there. It's
Yeah,
crazy. I
I
can't
know
go
how that
down
goes.
anymore on the price either.
I know how
Cool.
it goes, my friend. But yeah, we'll plug away. Maybe next time, our next episode, it'll have sold, and I'll tell you how much I had to lower the price. So we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you planning on stocking up more next year for inventory to last you
Yeah,
through the
but
winter time?
yeah, with our season though, it's like I don't really typically even get a chance to start to like dip my foot in until April. I don't have any other sourcing. I got to figure out more sourcing. I've checked out some thrift stores. I'm just not good at that area, and we don't have the best thrift stores around our house either. So
Their thrift store prices are up to eBay prices now these days. Anyways, it's not really a big
right.
bargain.
So
What about estate sales? Do you guys have a lot of estate sales?
there's been
around
a
there?
couple here and there, but I just haven't had the opportunity to check them out. So
Oh,
I just need to
gotcha.
be maybe a little more on the weekends. But even then, like I might find something here and there, but that's not going to be like really be reloading me for a season. Like I usually reload in the summertime.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll stay tuned with that, and that's all I got.
Perfect. That's all I got too, man.
All right.
So remember to check us out. Do you know that we got verified over on Twitter? We're Twitter verified now. We got the blue check mark.
Congrats.
So check us out on our social medias at the Pickers Podcast, or you can leave us a voicemail or a text. We have a phone number in the show description below. And then over on Twitter, which I think is where I'm going to be plugging a lot here in the near future, it's the podcast Pickers. Pickers Podcast was already taken, so they gave me podcast Pickers.
Okay.
Find us over there and connect with us. All right.
Yes. All right, fellow pickers, go find your own treasures one story at a time.
And remember, it's not reselling unless you went to Denial's Farmers Market and Swap Meet.
Yes.